go into that. But anyway,
Yes.
you are also proposing something of a basic universal income, a freedom dividend.
That's right.
You call it. What does that mean exactly?
So this is an idea that's been with America since our founding. Thomas Paine was for it. Martin Luther King championed it in 1967. It's a dividend for every American as a right of citizenship. So under my plan, every American adult would receive $1,000 a month starting at age 18 every month until you expire.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
That will cost $3 trillion. Where's this money coming from? And what is the point of it, really? They say if you give a man a fish, if you give a man a fishing line, he can fish. If you give him one fish, he'll just eat that fish, something like that.
I think I know the saying you're talking about.
How does it go? You know that what I'm talking about? So you hand somebody $1,000. Now, what good is that? They spend $1,000, big deal.
Though, for people that are struggling.
I know it's a bit of a game changer, but it's not a long-term solution. Come on.
It actually would help build a more human-centered economy, what I call the trickle-up economy, because it would allow more people to do the kind of work that they want to do, including people like my wife, who's at home with our 2 young boys, one of whom is autistic. And right now, the market values her work at 0. GDP values her work at 0. If you start putting resources into our hands, it actually expands what we think of as work.
Well, now you're talking about paying women for doing housework and doing work at home, being mothers. That's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
Oh, good.
That's different. That's different.
Well, I mean, again, and this is a game changer for the waitress at the diner who's getting harassed by her boss. It's a game changer for the single mom who's stuck in an abusive relationship. Like, we need to put the economic resources into people's hands to be able to improve their situation.
But still, how are you going to pay for this exactly? Well, you know, listen to Elizabeth Warren. She's got a plan. She's charging 2% over certain millions and millions and millions. What are you going to do?
So my plan is to get the resources from the big winners of the 21st century economy. So the big winners are who? Amazon. Trillion-dollar company, paid 0 in taxes, less than everyone in this room. Apple, Netflix, Google. These companies are great at just not paying a whole lot of taxes.
Right.
And so what you do is you have to look around the world and see that other countries have put a mechanism in place so the American people get a tiny slice of every Amazon sale, every Google search, every Facebook ad, every Uber mile, and that's enough to pay for a dividend of $1,000 a month, particularly because this money just comes back to us over and over again.
Yeah, but you're